Hello everybody, welcome back to the Season of Us podcast. This is episode 16, and y'all already know I just kind of dive into it. So grab your water, your tea, your coffee, your wine, literally anything that you prefer, and let's just jump right into it. So I was kind of going back and forth on what to talk about in this episode, but after jotting down a few ideas, this is kind of the one that stuck with me, and it's honestly just the fear of failure. Now, obviously I'm going to expand on that, but lately I just feel like there's so much pressure to have life figured out and just kind of know exactly what your next steps are and what you're going to do for a living and how you're going to get there and what you're doing now to get there. And there's just so much pressure. And now I'm not saying it's not good to plan and not good to lay out, think about your future and think about what you're going to do. But I feel like we have so much pressure on creating that future and building that future that we forget to focus on the now. So I don't know about you, but I feel like some days I wake up and I just kind of, get down on myself because I'm like, man, I'm 21 years old, I'm working this 9-to-5 job, and what if this is what I do for the rest of my life? And I'm kind of just focusing on all the negative and all of the progress that I haven't gotten by the age of 21, and I just overwhelm myself with this idea that I need to have everything figured out and that I need to be set on okay, this is my game plan, this is what I want to be for the rest of my life. And I feel like that's so much pressure because it's who made the layout? Who decided, okay, this is what you need to be by age 20, this is where you need to be by age 25, by age 30 you should be married and you should have kids, by this age you should have this, you should have that, all this idea of what your life should look like. But I talk about this to my friends all the time. I'm who's to say where you'll end up? So when we're taking advice from all these people and saying you should be here, you should be married, you should be, in a relationship, you should be in college, you should be graduating, whatever it is, right? Who are they to say that's where you should be at in life right now? So I feel it's so unfair for all of us to assume, the way that your life should go when every single person, every single individual has a different path. And personally, me, I've been waking up every day and I just I'm down on myself because I'd be man, I don't know what my next steps are. I don't know what else I want to be, because right now I'm happy with the job that I have. I'm happy with the life that I have, but I always have this craving for more, as if I have to prove myself to people and I have to prove that I could do better and I will do better. And when I do that, in doing so, I just feel I don't give credit to myself now, to my present self. I don't allow myself that time to just sit down and reflect and be man, 5 years ago, looking at today, I would be so proud of myself. I'm literally living in my own place at 21 years old. I don't have anyone paying for any of my bills but myself. I love my job. I'm succeeding in my job. I'm genuinely happy, and I'm able to grow on my own, and I'm able to just pursue a life that I want to pursue, and I'm content with that. And I just have this and I know other people think this way too, is that I just have this pressure of every year I have to do better. Every day it has to be something new. And the other day, my sister called me out on it because I was, packing all my stuff. I was ready to move to LA. I was ready to level up. I was ready to move into 1 bedroom. I was ready. I just needed to get rid of everything and start over. And I didn't notice that was kind of a problem that I had, is that I always felt I needed more. I always feel I need more. I'm never satisfied. And I used to think oh, that's so good because you're always striving for greatness, which is a really good quality to have. But when you're never satisfied with what you have, it's you're always going to be seeking something new. Once you hit what you want, you're always going to want something else. And I needed to kind of stop that, because my sister, I was stressing out about moving and packing all my stuff and finding a 1 bedroom and figuring out where I'm going to work next and all the things, right? Because I'm so used to every year moving and switching things up and changing. And we were on the phone and she just kind of talked to me and she was Daisy, you don't always have to be leveling up. She's I understand that you love change and you love new things and you love to experience something new. She's but you're happy in your little place. You're happy in your job. You're happy with the friends that you have. You love where you're at. So why are you changing? And when she told me that, I was just like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know why I was craving change so much. But I think it's just because for years, you know, with like my parents divorcing and moving from California to Utah and back and forth, I'm so used to change that I feel like it's so out of the ordinary if I'm not constantly on the go. If I'm not constantly switching my life up, whether it's my job, my relationship, my friendships, my career, my living space, like everything, I'm always changing. And I finally had to like focus on me and really ask myself if I needed the change. And instead, you know, I decided to stay where I'm at, and I gave myself that grace period where I was like, you know what? I love my life. I might be 21 years old and have no idea what my future career is going to be, have no idea what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I'm okay with the unknown. I'm at peace with the unknown because I know no matter what, life's going to work itself out. Yes, I still have to work hard, I still have to hustle, I still have to provide for my own, but life is always throwing like unexpected curveballs. You can plan your entire life and know exactly the way that you want it to go, but life happens and things will change, and not everything's gonna look picture perfect, and you're not gonna be able to have just this perfect blueprint of your life become exactly the way that you wanted it to be. And that is just so hard for me to understand because I love control. And that's really what it comes down to. I love to have control of my life and the people around me and the situations and the experiences. And although it feels nice to be in control, it also gets rid of all that spontaneous experiences, all that unknown, all that excitement of you don't know what's going to happen next. And so I think once I realized that I am no longer in control of everything and everyone and just anything that's in my life, I slowly started to enjoy everything more. I wake up in the morning and I journal, and I literally just drink coffee and I'll just stare out my window, and it brings me so much peace because I understand that I am not at that top level of, you know, my ultimate growth, and I'm okay with that because I'm learning every single day. And I feel like I'm 21 years old. Like, why is there so much pressure for me to know everything? And I don't know, I just think it blows my mind that people are convinced that their life could only look a certain way. People are convinced that if they don't get the job now, or don't get married now, or don't, you know, buy this brand new house right now, that they will not succeed. And for what? Who are you trying to impress? What are we trying to prove to anybody? Like, we don't have to prove ourselves to anybody. You just have to live and take every day at a time. And if one day sucks, try to make the next day better. If one job sucks, try to get a new one that you actually enjoy. And it brings joy to your life rather than just like regret, because we all have those jobs where we show up and the only thing we can think about is, when do I get to get off? How many more hours until I can leave for the day? And I hated that mentality. I used to have a job like that where I would hate going to work. I would dread it every single day. I would hate getting ready. I would get there and I would just automatically be annoyed, be frustrated. Granted, I was at a certain state in my life or a certain period of my life where I just didn't enjoy life. And then living or working in a toxic environment just added on to that. But now the job that I have, I absolutely love. Do I see myself working there forever? No. But I love the space that I created there. I love the friendships that I've built there. I love, working with people my same age that might not have all the answers to life, but we learn from each other. And I feel like that's just what life's about. You just go through your journey, you meet new people, you hear their stories, you experience things differently with everybody in different places, and it's just, I'm tired of all the pressure. If you're watching this, you are doing so incredible. so incredible just waking up every day, doing what you gotta do, and keeping that hope for the next day. Because I feel like while I've been going through my growth process, I would have loved to have somebody tell me, you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to go a certain path to be considered successful. You don't need to just live like other people because they've turned out successful for you to be successful. Because success looks so different for so many people. Some people think being successful is being wealthy. Some people think being successful is being in a happy marriage, a happy family, creating a family of their own. Some people think being successful is just being happy. Like, I know there's a lot of people who wake up every day and don't feel that excitement, that those like butterflies to wake up and be like, oh my God, it's a brand new day. There's like, the possibilities are endless. And I know for a fact there's so many people that don't wake up with that mentality. And it's so unfortunate because if you really think about it, the world is such an incredible place. But unfortunately with social media and just politics and just all of this superficial ideas have corrupted a lot of people. Whether you're in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s or however old you are, if you are living a life where you feel content and you know there's room for growth and you know that there's still things you need to learn, but you are accepting that where you're at is okay, it makes life just so much more fun to live. And you know, from here on out, I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna love my life and learn from it and not have just this huge pressure of being something that I just am not, whether that's ever or just currently. And I'm okay with that. I love waking up in my little studio apartment. I love, what brings me joy, the other day I decorated my apartment. It's totally different than I used to have it. And it's all pink and just very girly, very cute, but very neat. And that brought me so much joy. Do I still live in a tiny little studio? Yes. Do I still work a 9-to-5 job? Yes. Am I still your average 21-year-old? Yes. But I love my life. And I want to express that because it kind of like breaks my heart. There's so many people out there putting so much pressure on themselves, breaking in their backs, like literally just suffering to live. And for what? Like, what are we trying to prove ourselves? To who? Because at the end of the day, you're going to come home to yourself. And if at the end of the day, you ask yourself, am I happy with the way that I'm living? Or even ask yourself, am I living for me or am I living for somebody else? And those questions alone will help you realize and kind of reflect on what you have been prioritizing in your life. And for me personally, I've prioritized money a lot. I've prioritized school, even though I never went to college. I prioritized just schedule, routine, which some of those things aren't the worst thing, but I never prioritized my happiness. I never focused so much on what makes me happy. What can I do today to feel me? And one thing I want to say is if you've never journaled or taken an hour of your day to just breathe and listen to music, like music is so good for the soul. Granted, like some music can make you very sad, very depressed, and maybe try to stay away from that kind of music, but music in general just speaks to you in such a different way. And every morning not every morning, I've been trying to get better, but I don't touch my phone. I journal, I write, how I'm feeling first thing in the morning. I create like a kind of, a little schedule because I'm still not good with breaking routine, but a little schedule of what I want my day to go through. And then I just, write in this little journal that asks me some questions, and I'm looking at like my little pile of stuff, and I read a personal development book. And I might not have a degree in literally anything. I might not be going to school. I might not be the, richest person in the world, but I'm here, and I'm me, and I'm happy. And I'm finally at a point in my life where, because I'm so content with who I am and where I'm at in life, I'm able to allow people into my life and accept that no one's perfect. And everybody is just taking every day at a time. Tomorrow is literally not promised. So I hate the idea of stressing so much that I don't get to live in the present. Because who cares? Like, who cares? Right now you might be struggling. Right now you might not be in the best position of your life, but who's to say that tomorrow can't be different? Who's to say that in a few years it can't be different? But every day just trying to make your days better. Even if you feel like you're behind, or you feel like, you haven't grown as much as certain individuals, just don't compare yourself, because you're literally different people. So who am I to be like, I wish I was like this girl with this perfect relationship and this perfect house and all this money and living in Hawaii, or I don't know, literally anything random. Who am I to compare myself to her or him when we come from such different lives? Like who are we kidding if we're trying to think that we can turn out exactly like somebody else? And I feel like that's honestly what it comes down to. When we put so much pressure on ourselves, it's because we want a life that isn't necessarily ours. So this episode is kind of short today. But I really wanted to go over this because I know whoever's watching this, whether you're 20 or in your 30s or wherever you are, if you're stuck, it's okay. You don't have to have life figured out, because let me tell you something, nobody does. Even the most successful people in the world do not have all the answers to life. So just give yourself some grace. And instead of looking at all the things you haven't done, or the things that you can't do, or the things that you haven't accomplished, look at all the things that you have done. Like 2 years ago, I was living with my mom. I had no job. I literally had no money, no savings. My relationship just ended. I was in the saddest state I've ever been in. And here we are, almost 3 years later, actually. I live alone. I have some of the most amazing friends, the most incredible people that I surround myself with. And I go out with some of the most amazing people, and my family is growing with me, my friends are growing with me, and I'm okay with not knowing what's next. So I hope if you're watching this gave you some kind of clarity or peace of mind to just take every day at a time and be proud of yourself. Because I know the year ago version of you would be so proud of you. So give yourself some grace and just take every day at a time. But I will see you guys next time on episode 17, and I will be interviewing somebody very special, so stay tuned.